Hello and welcome to Perspectives, where we take a deep dive into the issues of the day and where we take a look at people's opinion on such issues. I am Ruth Osime. Today we will be discussing a powerful and thought-provoking film that takes on one of society's most uncomfortable truths, the act of rape and the suffocating code of silence that too often surrounds it. Rape is a deeply traumatic crime that affects not only the survivor, but also society at large. Oftentimes, victims face a David and Goliath struggle against their abusers, compounded by the pressure of societal judgments. Families and communities may also impose a code of silence, isolating the survivor and preventing them from seeking justice. This silence can have devastating effects on mental health, leaving survivors to cope with the trauma alone. However, social media and other platforms have begun to challenge this silence, offering a space for survivors to share their stories, seek support, and advocate for change. We'll be talking with the writer and director of the movie A Night in 2005 and some of the casts about the emotional and social impact of this story, the reality it reflects, and how it's inspiring real change in the way we survivors and their strengths grow. Stay tuned for a compelling conversation. You won't want to miss this. One of my guests on the show this morning is Bimbo Akintola, a household name amongst film lovers, not just in Nigeria, but across the globe. She earned a degree in theatre arts from the prestigious University of Ibadan and has so many movies and awards to her credit. One of them is the movie we are discussing this morning, A Night in 2005. Then we also have Iwara, who would also be on the show, was also on the movie. Iwara started his career in the entertainment industry as a musician in 2006, but made his acting debut in a 2011 episode of Tinsel as a debate moderator. My third guest on the first segment as well is Temidayo Makanjuola, a seasoned professional with extensive experience in media production, entrepreneurship, and marketing. Makanjuola directed the movie A Night in 2005, which offers a compelling journey into the lasting trauma of a young woman grappling with secrets from her past. Welcome to Perspectives.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. I'm excited.
Okay, let's start with, we all know this story, and this film resonates with a lot of people. Let's start with you, Temidayo. You know, as both the writer and director of this movie, what research did you do to ensure that the story accurately reflects the experience of survivors?
I think really speaking to some survivors of this type of experience, and also from social media and just going online and researching different cases of women coming out and speaking up about being sexually assaulted in their past and how they've been treated when they've spoken up as well is a huge part of the story, because I think a lot of women feel they need to stay silent, because there's a stigma when you come out and say you've been assaulted or you've been raped, and they feel they're not going to get the justice that they deserve. Yeah. It's partly misogyny, the type of society that we live in, today. So personal experiences, speaking to different people, survivors of these type of experiences, and also from online and social media.
That's interesting that you say that. But let me get to you, Bimbo, because you come from more like my generation. Yes. You know, even though you still look like you're in her generation.
I wish, I really wish.
Now, in the film, your character struggles between the balance, between wanting the best for her daughter and letting her make her own choices. So in this role that you played, whose best interest did your character have?
Mostly her child's, but hers as well. She was also thinking about herself and what it would mean if people found out that this had happened to her daughter. And what people don't realize that she experienced the same thing.
Oh, the mother experienced the same thing?
And she learns to keep, yes, she said, we keep quiet and we move on.
Oh, is that what she meant in that scene?
Yeah. That's what she meant.
I thought she was just talking about the general societal expectations of if you're a rape
says
victim?
we keep quiet and we move on. It had happened to her, and that's what she did. She kept quiet, she moved on. And it changed her a lot. You can tell from when you meet her that she's kind of on the edge. She's balanced, she's looking for so much and has nothing to show for all the years she's lived. She married a man that she thought was rich. Unfortunately, he wasn't. She has a daughter that she's not close to, because since the rape happened, it's been her reliving her own experiences as well. That's what I did.
So
with
did
the
that not
character.
now give her time? Did that now not make her focus on the daughter's pain?
No.
Because she
was living
felt
her own
the daughter
trauma.
should have done exactly how she reacted.
She was living her own trauma.
Oh, that's so sad.
And don't forget,
I had no clue that she had experienced.
That's one of the
this.
things I used for a character.
Okay.
And if you look at our time, what was prevalent then was you keep quiet.
Yeah.
We know so many girls that were raped, so many girls that were molested. And I think for the mothers, it was also because they knew the people who were doing the raping. The people were part of their
that's
family.
the most painful part, yeah.
Because it was
when
always...
You continue to see the culprits in your life or around your life and what have you.
It's usually an uncle, a brother, somebody that's in your trust circle. So it's never outsiders. So for the moms, I think it was double-edged. It was someone in the family or the father's family or their family, maybe their brother and their child. A lot of them, the trauma was too much. Some of them would just, pretend it didn't happen, shut down.
But what I can't get over is how they still maintain contact with the supposed culprits. At least even if you can't come out and say it, you can at least keep him away from the child or keep him at arm's length. You don't still continue to have that same visitor or that same person in your life.
Yeah, it's a problem. The denial that people live in when people go through things like this. They never ever keep those people away. They're constantly in and around.
To the detriment of the victim.
Yes, exactly.
And other victims, because other victims will happen. Because we've not done anything about this person who's obviously a pedophile.
True. Okay, let me ask you, Effa, you were the big bad wolf.
Sadly.
So did you conduct any psychological or societal research to build your character, or did you use examples of individuals who have not been called to accountability because of their prestige or background?
So there was something that happened while we were working on the project together, Ted and I, and creatively you tend to create these characters in your head where the character is a bad person. But she said, if I imagine if he believed it was normal, if he believed that he had done nothing wrong, and that changes a lot. That changes your performance and the way you go at it. So creatively, just being a Nigerian and seeing people in power, and we've all heard that saying, power corrupts, and absolute power absolutely corrupts.
Yes.
So you also delve into how was he raised. So imagine if he thought what he did was normal. And that was basically all I used to move forward with the character. Just, this is his norm. He doesn't think he's done anything wrong. And that fueled his rage, that fueled his confidence, that fueled his absolute belief. Yeah, audacity, that's the word.
Yes.
And that fueled his audacity. That's basically what helped me with the
That's
character.
interesting. Okay, now let me get to Temidayo. What message do you hope to leave with viewers, and how do you think the narrative has changed today in terms of how rape is handled?
I think I'd hope that people see this film and it inspires them to speak up. It inspires them to somehow find justice for themselves. If they can't take it into their own hands, then whichever ways that are possible for them to find this justice. There's organizations now that support and help women and men that are in situations like this. And I just hope that staying silent, like they realize that staying silent is not the answer and will never be the answer. You have to be able to find a way to work through your trauma.
But it takes a lot of courage, though.
It does.
But the first step is saying it out loud.
It's saying yes.
You have to say it out loud.
You have to say it out loud.
You have to break that silence and come out and say, this happened to me. Even if it's just a friend.
Yes.
Say it so you can deal with it, so you know it's real. It's not in your imagination. Because I think that's one of the biggest issues. You're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to share your trauma, to work on it. You just live with this day in, day out, and it affects every aspect of your life.
That's true.
It does.
True. Yeah. That's true. But Effa, you had a very domineering mother. for instance. Remember we were talking about it?
Yes.
You had a very domineering mother. So do you think that played a significant role in making you the man that you are?
Wanting to dominate other women.
Yes.
I think, if anything, I honestly hadn't thought about it that way till you brought this up. She brought it up. Okay, I was looking at it as a very linear relationship just between the character of Temidayo and his mother. But I never thought about it being the reason why that was his thing while dealing with other women from even a very young age. So I think that actually makes perfect sense. Yeah,
but did you feel that you did need to dominate women because you had a mother who had usurped your own?
I definitely agree. But while we're having this conversation, something just came to mind, and that is the importance of parents and how they raise their children.
We're talking about that.
Yeah, because if you have sadly girls who have gone through this trauma and they don't feel comfortable or safe enough to tell their own mothers. I mean, who can you tell anything if not your mother? You know, and if you don't feel safe to go to your mother, then who can you really go to?
It's interesting that you mentioned that. So people explain to the viewers as well why you thought that his mother played a significant role in making him the man that he is.
What we see sometimes is with men who are very dominating mothers, they either go for women who will do the same thing to them, or they want to dominate others to show that, you know, I'm a real man. Because at home, you're catering to her needs, and she's the power, she's the authority, not you. And somehow, for some men, that just affects their ego, and they want to show other people that I'm in charge. It's my life. It's me.
Yeah, I also think it's important that mothers of sons
talk to their
to their sons about consent, because a huge problem that I've seen is mothers and fathers, parents who help their sons escape the consequence of actions like of actions like this, of sexually assaulting women. It happens so much where a boy will sexually assault a girl, and his father and his mother will protect him and will protect him from suffering the real consequence of that action. And I think that is the beginning of the problem. So I have 2 sons, and already it's like you have to kind of start teaching them about consent, about, okay, if she does, or if anybody wants to hug you, and if you want to hug anyone, you have to, like, maybe you should ask them first. And if they say no, then leave them alone. No is no. You know, so I think it starts from there, and teaching about consent, and also ensuring that they get the consequence for their actions. If they do wrong, then they have to face the consequence.
Because you don't hear about schools now.
It's hard, but that's the only way.
You have to do it. You have to, or your child will continue to do this thing. And
It's
one day, it will be someone that affects you.
Yeah.
Okay, but in your case, Effa, in your character, there was a scene. I want to even ask, first and foremost, what was the most difficult scene for you in the movie? And then why did your character feel that he was beyond reproach?
So there are two very difficult scenes. There's a scene between my character and Kelechi, my wife, where I have to be physical.
Yes,
and it's never easy. it's never easy doing those kind of scenes. And the second one would be there's a confrontation but later in the movie between 3 female characters, and
that was a very powerful scene.
It was tough. It was tough to shoot because you're tied to a chair. It's long hours, you know. It's hot, sweat, you know.
But your character had no remorse. If anything, he was even angry.
So that's the thing, because once again, he really believed that he had done nothing wrong. So he was like, you guys are being unfair.
Yeah, and I think he believed that he was above the law.
Above the law.
What do you think you can say to me that is going to do anything now? Like, you know, and I think that's the case for a lot of
Okay, we're going on a break now, so we'll be right back soon. So let's go back to where we stopped. Now, Bimbo, let me ask you. Did you feel that you put any pressure on your daughter by not supporting her in this role? Did it ever occur to you that she might be going through emotional turmoil?
No, but the character had been through her own pressure. She just thought, take it. I took mine, you can take yours. Be strong. That's what women are supposed to be. You're supposed to be. She wasn't thinking about her daughter's trauma. as far as she was concerned, you live with it. It's normal. It's what women do. Women live with trauma.
Yeah, but what still? She even was paid to keep quiet.
The money went to her education.
Oh.
The money
was
went
it the
to-
money that the male character, the male lead's mother paid?
Yeah,
that
she went
educated the
abroad.
child?
She changed her environment. She did try for her. She changed her environment. She was sending her back and forth. She was traveling business class or whatever. She tried for her.
Also, as far as she's concerned, I
money-
give you a life
yes.
for the pain that you went through.
Yes,
Pretty much.
we got something for it. It wasn't just mine. I got nothing, but you got something for yours, and we've used it towards your education. It's made you, a better person, and I've tried. That's the character.
That is so sad. It's funny enough. That's the reality of today.
Yeah.
Some mothers probably will wear those shoes and say, snap out.
It's
of it.
happened. Nothing can change it. Talking about it wouldn't change the fact that it happened. So let's move on and see how we can live life better. That's it. Forget trauma. Live.
But Temidayo, whilst you were doing the movie, did you think about characters like this, and how did you manage to convey the message that no matter what society does against you, you must learn to speak up? How did you empower your character towards the end?
So the character finds family and support in like the most unexpected place outside of Lagos, on a farm with this older grand uncle, and in a very simple life. And I really wanted to do that for her, because you can kind of be in your same environment and be around the same people, and everyone keeps telling you the same thing. And she found strength in the most unexpected place. And that is basically what helped her and gave her the courage and inspiration to speak up for herself. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but even more unfortunate circumstances made her just stand up and say no more. Because when you see someone doing the same thing again and is about to go into a higher place of power, that they can exploit and enforce themselves on more women. I think that also made her say, you know what, no more.
I'm dealing with a lot of rape victims. They come to a point where it's like, if I don't speak, I'll combust.
Yes, like
I
you'll
think that they get to that
explode.
stage.
They do.
Or some of them just suppress it and just
It
pretend
gets
it
to a
doesn't
point that they
happen.
can't hold it back, and it's usually much later in life, and they just start saying it, and they go through really traumatic. Some start to drink. I've had so many friends that different reactions.
Thinking about it, it reminds me of a scene that comes very early in the movie where sometimes the victims have issues with intimacy. So even when her partner was trying to hug her and just show her love and care,
Some go the other way. Some use sex as
It could be both ways.
Yeah,
It could go
trauma can come up
either way.
in different
But what I want to
ways.
ask you is that in your case, your character's case, sorry, I keep saying your was there any tinge of guilt at any given time? Do you think maybe in some sober moments they would reflect, but rather than show it, just mask it?
I honestly don't think so.
So you really believe that there are men out there?
character.
I
believe so.
The only one time I think he had a bit of a hesitation is when his mother asked him to do something and handle it himself. And he thinks, should I really? But he looks at the bigger picture.
the part where she was almost telling him, write her off.
Yes.
Exactly. And then he's like, should we be doing this? And he's like,
Why not?
oh well.
If I have to, so be it.
The greater good.
It's me or her.
And once again, once you've never been checked your entire life, because think about it, it's kind of how in our Nigeria, Lagos especially, it's a two-way road and someone is taking a one-way, but they're escorts. If that's how you were raised, we're taking the one-way road, but because we are who we are,
Then
nothing is going to
there's
happen.
nothing gonna happen, yeah.
You start to feel untouchable. You start to feel like I will do whatever I want.
In fact, you literally said it.
Yeah, I said yes. We said
even under duress. If anything, rather than beg, you were even arrogant.
Yeah.
You were angry.
Because he
that you
says,
were
what do you
put
think
in a
is going to
vulnerable
happen?
position.
We're in Nigeria. What's
And
going
with
to
a
happen?
character like that, I'm sure he's done it many times. Not
Yes.
only her, there'll be other girls that he's paid
along the way.
off or kept quiet or police have done whatever. So he knows that nothing will happen.
Yeah, and I think even if it's only one time, even if you only ever assaulted someone one time, it's how you choose to deal with that. Do you apologize and just say you're sorry, or you're just like, you know what, and what can you do
She
to me?
enjoyed it.
You know,
And
we actually talked about it.
Yeah, we
And
did.
I said, fine, it's a horrible thing. But horrible things happen. Now, this thing has happened. What do you do next? Do you seek help? Do you apologize? Do you own up to it? You know, these are the things. So I feel like there was room for redemption.
Yes.
If when she came out and said, okay, Okoyemi Dada, you did this to me, if he had just said, you know what, it's true.
I was drunk, I was a
But he
child.
was running for governor at the time.
Yeah.
So
I
he
could
had
have helped.
there
What
a lot
was
at
more
stake.
important to him?
Obviously, the position was more
position
important
was
than
more
anything else.
important.
And his mother too didn't help matters.
Yeah.
If he was with a mother who was sensitive to the incident and, you know, told him off or told him to accept his the act of what, his wrongdoings, he might even feel a bit of remorse. But like Temidayo said, most parents, unfortunately, even in today's times,
Even today, they still do it today.
they tone it down.
Yes. Yeah, they hide
and
it.
tell the girl, I mean, there was a lady I hear recently that wrote on Facebook, and she's in her 50s, that the person who molested her as a child is still a visitor in her mother's house.
Yeah. I know someone who, after she grew up, dated the person.
Oh, wow.
That was the only way she could justify it to herself.
Are you serious?
Yes. And then she now, of course, she got to a breaking point and had this like huge break, and then someone advised her, go talk to someone. So she now started seeing someone, and the person said to her, you know, why are you back with this person? She now said it felt like it would make everything right that happened in the past. If she was with him now, then it would be normal.
Yeah.
But did he even accept that he raped her?
Probably
He never
not.
did.
Didn't. I spoke to someone, some guy, and he said all our time, girls used to say no. And it was no, kind of, no, until yes. So he said then she was saying no. So he wasn't sure if it was no or no. But he couldn't tell which was which. That was his excuse.
And the trauma that this leaves behind is just so sad. But now,
very
another
sad.
good thing that helped in the movie is the advent of social media.
Yes.
Do you understand? So how much of a role do you think this has played in calling culprits to justice?
So I think it helps in giving women a voice and in making people face what they've done. But there's two sides because, you know, you can come out and you can speak up and you can say, this person did this to me. And then you also have the social media jury
The bullies.
who decide you are lying or you are telling the truth because you have wearing a mini skirt on your Instagram page or you wear your makeup like this or whatever or for whatever reason they decide what you're saying is not true because we like him better than you or whatever.
And you're in trouble.
Especially if the person is popular.
Yes.
You know, we've seen it so many times.
Yes.
Popular men get accused for sexually assaulting a girl, or even if they call them baddies, even if she looks good and she was sexually assaulted, doesn't make it right. So that's it. So social media has advantages and disadvantages. It helps you speak up and say your truth. But at the same time, you're also immediately judged by people, and that judgment, people just put you into the category of, oh, she's a liar, or she deserved it. So it's a two-way. It's a two-way.
No, but there's also another angle to it, and I feel like social media it does have its positives, but it also has its negatives. It's a very powerful tool, but if used wrongly, can be very devastating. So, for example, there was a story of a young man I remember online where he was accused of rape by a girl.
Oh, I remember that story.
And he kept on saying, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
His life was totally ruined.
And then I think a year goes by or something, and then he commits suicide.
Oh my goodness.
And then after that, his family members can say, look, he didn't do it. But you never can tell. You were not in the room. So it's always 50-50.
Yes, you'll be looking at the person for
So he says he's tired of having to explain it, and he kills himself. And then the girl comes out later and says, oh, he didn't.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
And when I heard it,
It also makes you upset.
Because I think he sued the girl's family.
So once that happened, I just
removed
myself from that. I was just too angry.
There's also that.
He
Like, a
committed
lot of
suicide,
girls are using
and
that
then
as a tool.
I think his brother was attacking him and said, are you happy now? And then the girl said, no, I wasn't. So I'm like, it's such a powerful tool. So you have to be very careful.
Very careful. But how do you now know? Because it's true. Some
How do you know who's
might not
telling
have been raped, because the incident I remember is that I don't even think the girl was raped, but I think she got angry or was angry with the person.
It happens sometimes.
And told him, and he
A
lost a lot of contracts
That does
that he
happen,
had. He
yes.
lost
That does
A lot.
happen.
Some women use it as a tool to
But
ruin up.
that's
But
so deep.
something happened to me one day. I was talking to a friend of mine who's an advocate for standing against rape and all that. And we're talking, and then this incident happened, and I felt so hurt, and I wanted to talk about it. And then she calmed down and said to him, Effa, I know these things happen, right? But think about the number of women and girls who get molested and assaulted,
And nothing
happens.
for them,
And they said,
yeah.
what is the bigger problem here? And I said, the honest truth is,
But when you shout rape and there's no rape, you're also taking away from their
You are.
battle, from
And
their
there should be-
power,
yes,
from their
exactly.
right, their
And there
right
should be consequences.
to voice their trauma.
Yeah, but I think there are more women that actually do get raped.
Yes.
You know, so
There are
I
more
said,
than
than
who
those
get
who
wrongly
lie.
accused.
yeah, and that's why
I agree.
Do you understand?
said,
So, you know,
And please, next time someone says to you is what the person was wearing, ask them what the 4-month-old baby was wearing.
I remember an incident. Yes, I
Ask
remember
them.
an incident where a girl got raped. She went to her boyfriend's, and she got raped by armed robbers. And I think she's been on my show before. And she goes to the police station, and the first question, the woman, not even male, asked her, what were you wearing? And she was like, what could I have been wearing? Would I be wearing camouflage to sleep? Obviously, I was wearing my nightie, and, you know, and you could sense this look of, oh, these are Jabota girls, you know, and that haunted her for a long time.
yes.
The fact that a woman
Yeah.
like her could say the same.
But I've been raped again, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of women, you find when you look at the Instagram comments or the comments on Twitter or whoever,
Some people are not normal.
a lot of them are from women that
Yes,
are
that's so
like,
sad to know.
well, you know, why is she dressed like this? I know her type, you know, or men, or people who just justify ugly, disgusting behavior.
Women uphold all these useless traditions that we have. If
Yeah.
you look, it's always women. It's women against
So
women.
it's-
Sometimes that's what it
We
feels
Yeah.
like.
we really need to be able to support each other more.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot of courage, like your character in the movie, to actually stand up to
I'll
a
tell you the
man
truth.
who was running for governor. Because I think position and power too also plays a
Plays a
prominent
huge role.
in this abuse.
Yes.
You know, I mean, let's not even talk about children, like you said.
No, because I was working with the center, and the youngest was 4 months.
Can you imagine?
A baby. What was she wearing then? What was the baby 4 months?
I remember that I had a maid
that was raped.
who said there was a landlord in her vicinity who he was a pedophile. He would rape the children of his tenants and then get them not to pay rent for 1 year or 6 months.
Jesus.
See?
So this thing is still very prevalent.
It is.
Yes,
It is.
in our
It
world,
is.
in our society, especially in Nigeria, a lot of men, you know, I mean, there are people are doing things to kind of move society forward, and you see that happening. But I think it's general orientation of men, of women is is it that bad, or let's just keep quiet about it.
I've heard someone say you have sex now, so what's the difference?
You know,
I've heard someone.
there's just some general.
As in you had,
There was the difference. The difference is
Between
that you didn't
consensual
want
sex.
It's
it.
consent.
That's the
yes.
difference. You didn't want it. Somebody took your power,
Yeah.
took everything that you have, or held you against your will.
What I can't get over is the one that you said she went back to the guy that raped her.
Yeah. So trauma is weird.
And have you heard phrases where the men would even tell you women like it? You know, when you dominate a woman,
Yeah,
you
that's-
possess her.
And you have
they
some
like
women
it.
that
But
after
ask.
that can't even
But
have sex if you're not.
But
You
ask
do
exactly.
what?
Does she? Did she?
Do you-
No,
Do
but
you
when
know?
she says no, and you still continue.
Then
What
you
happens?
stop.
Do you know there are some
They-
women that will not have sex except it's forceful?
And
But
that
then it's
stems-
still consent.
and that stems from trauma.
No, but that's from
stems
trauma.
from-
That's
Yes,
just
that's
what I'm saying.
That's from trauma.
You have to have the yes, which is why now it's like you have to hear yes. If you don't even hear,
People,
then
you can speak now. Our time, you couldn't even
Yeah.
speak. You couldn't
Yeah.
say anything.
Yeah.
You were not allowed.
How were you there in the first place? It's the first question they would ask.
You were wearing miniskirt, you're a prostitute.
Yes.
I'm serious. Our time, it was so different. Now I look at you guys and I smile because you didn't have the things that we went through, and it was normal. It was natural. It was what every other girl was going through.
Yeah.
So you just had to keep, bear it.
But the sad thing is that I hear it's now rampant in secondary schools.
Oh my God.
So
Yes.
these girls must be like maybe what, early teens?
the early teens, 14s. I was actually just got told the story the other day about a 15-year-old boy and a 13-year-old.
Oh my God, he raped her.
Yeah, so it
What's
happens.
social media as well, what they're watching.
Yes, it happens, and nothing happens to them.
They're both
This is
underage,
so sad to
unfortunately.
hear. But I'm
Nothing
so glad
happens.
that your movie has lent a voice to a cause that is so strong, that we feel so passionately about, and people should really go out and see it, and
Please
maybe
do.
be encouraged to tell their story if they have a story to tell. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for being with us, Bimbo Akintola. Thank you, Iwara. Thank you, Temidayo. Makanjuola, I was going to say. Thank you so much for your story.
Thank you.